Hey, Happy New Year to you all. I want to take a moment today and just encourage you with a thought that I've experienced personally and then make an application to our Christian life for 2020. So I often get asked and have been asked all my life, do deaf people talk? Do they use their voice? And I think historically we made a big mistake by saying deaf and mute because most deaf people actually aren't mute. In fact, hearing people can actually even be mute, but deaf aren't. So deaf people have a voice. Now, with that being said, my mom and dad are deaf and they both use their voice at home. You will not hear them using it in public. Why? Well, their voices are going to sound a little different. They've never heard the sounds to speak. So when my mother and father speak and my sister speak, the voice will sound different. But that's not a bad thing. I often think that we are afraid or threatened or things that we're ignorant of. And let me encourage you today. Several years ago, I sat down at breakfast with a man from Romania, and we were sitting down talking, and he was speaking with broken English, and he kept apologizing. And I finally stopped and said, hey, your English is better than my Romanian. And I want to remind you that deaf people's English is better than most hearing people's sign language, so don't forget that. So anyway, my mom and dad used their voice, and they used their voice quite a bit when I was growing up. And I love hearing the sound of my mom and dad's voice. And I've heard them both say I love you to me many times, and I cherish it. Now here's the point I want to make to apply for 2020. In a room, in a crowded room of 300 or 400 people with all the voices speaking, if I was in a room like that, and my mom and dad spoke, I would recognize their voice in the midst of all that because it is so unique. My mom's voice is different than my dad's voice, and both of their voices are very different from the voices of the hearing, a majority all out there. So here's the application I want to make. This world is full of a lot of noise. The media is noisy, and today we're distracted by music and Netflix and Amazon Movie and now Disney Plus, all the things we're constantly thrown in front of our faces, and it's a noisy world. And sometimes I think we miss out on hearing the unique voice of God. I know in 2019 I missed out on his voice many times, and I have asked him to forgive me. It got noisy and I got distracted. So in 2020, I want to make sure I recognize that sweet, unique voice of God. Just like my mom's voice is unique, my dad's voice is unique, different than everybody else I've heard speak. And here's one way, the Bible. And God speaks to us through people, and God speaks to us through just creation. And sometimes God just quietly touches our heart when we find ourselves in a quiet place. So yes, deaf people do talk. They don't talk much out in public, but I love to hear my mom and dad speak. I love the voice of my sister even. Hey, today, remember that God has a unique voice, and make sure we quiet ourselves in 2020 so that we don't miss the voice of God. Happy New Year. Looking forward to a great year. Love y'all. God bless, and we'll talk soon.